test flight of the inaugural Starship vehicle to twice the thrust of a Saturn V heading to space. Maximum aerodynamic pressure. The velocity increases. The density of the atmosphere is decreasing.
Max Q.
Lessening stress on the vehicle. The call out, Max Q now. Starship and Super Heavy and ignition of the Starship engines. Forward view from Starship. And there's views of the Raptor engines on the second stage as we prepare for stage separation. Now after beginning the flip for stage separation.
And you sold PayPal to eBay for what?
It was about $1.5 billion. So that was it was a good outcome.
A good outcome?
Yes.
His share was $180 million, and he bet it all on Tesla and SpaceX. But at the age of 37, he hit rock bottom. His first rockets failed to reach orbit, and an early model Tesla Roadster had
things that are important in having a 3D tunnel network. First of all, you have to be able to integrate the entrance and exit of the tunnel seamlessly into the fabric of the city. So by having an elevator, sort of a car skate that's on an elevator, you can integrate the entrance and exits to the tunnel network just by using 2 parking spaces. And then the car gets on a skate. There's no speed limit here, so we're designing this to be able to operate at 200 kilometers an hour, about 200 kilometers an hour, or about 130 miles per hour. I'd like to thank you for leaving crazy person out of the description. I went to Russia 3 times to look at buying a refurbished ICBM. That was the best deal. I can tell you it was very weird going there in late 2001, 2002, going to the Russian rocket forces and saying, I'd like to buy 2 of your biggest rockets, but you can keep the nuke. That's a lot more.
Ford Motor Company and a $1 billion investment into self-driving cars. The company was backing Argo AI.
Everybody thought that autonomous vehicles, especially robotaxis, was right around the corner.
At its height, the startup was reportedly valued at $12.4 billion.
Reality struck them on both cheeks. Robotaxis are not just around the corner.
Argo AI failed.
The world gets excited about a technology that's going to revolutionize a market or revolutionize an industry. The old players get scared. In mobility, there was a lot of talk that Tesla was going to, own the world, that Ford and Volkswagen and GM and Toyota were the dinosaurs.
When Tesla's stock soared to all-time highs in 2017, it pushed its market cap past Ford's for the first time. That happened despite Ford having sold nearly 10 times as many cars as Tesla.
In the world, it lit the darkness. Then, as often, the week of Christmas became a time when little boy dreams are answered.
NASA called and told us that we'd won a $1.5 billion contract. And I couldn't even hold the phone. It's like, I just blurted out, I love you guys.
They saved you.
Yeah, they did.
What's important to Musk is reducing greenhouse gases, which he believes threaten the world. The Tesla will go about 250 miles on a charge, and Musk is building a network of charging stations where the driver pays nothing for a fill-up. He hopes to make the stations largely solar-powered one day.
You can drive for free forever on pure sunlight. That's the message we're trying to convey. So even if there's a zombie apocalypse and the grid breaks down, you'll still be able to charge your car.
So there's a zombie apocalypse warranty.
Yes, exactly.
And if you're running from zombies, it's good to know the Model S won the highest quality rating in the history of Consumer Reports and has the government's highest safety rating. Musk may be changing the car the way Steve Jobs changed the phone. That terrible year was captured in a documentary called Revenge of the Electric Car. His plant was filled with flawed cars that couldn't be delivered.
Cars we rejected for. Holy mackerel. Jesus. We have like an army of cars here. Like, Jesus.
I'm looking like we're going to be able to deliver 4 cars to the sales team.
This is frightening. It's really pedal to the metal here. Like, I mean, you know, each month that passes is literally costs us tens of millions of dollars. I mean, we need to appreciate that.
To save Tesla, Musk needed millions more from investors. His fortune was gone.
When we'd call people and say, hey, would you like to invest? They'd be angry that we just called. It's like, no, it's not only no, and you know, various expletives. I remember waking up the Sunday before Christmas in 2008 and thinking to myself, man, I never thought.
Don't walk away, that's for sure. Amazing views here coming to us from Starbase, Texas.
Look at the EV market, and if you take Tesla out, we probably have 60, 65, 70% of that market, of the non-Tesla electric vehicle OEMs. So that's a lot. GM, Ford, Stellantis, Porsche, Volkswagen, Nissan, Toyota, Volvo. We keep adding to the list.
And when asked why they don't work with one of the most recognizable brands in the EV industry?
No, they always do they like to do their own stuff. You know, they're a little bit like Apple. And also, I think the industry owes a lot to Tesla. They made electrification sexy.
When I think about the future of EV battery recycling specifically, I see it as an increasingly competitive space, but at the same time there's a bit of a mismatch of maybe more supply and capacity around EV battery recycling than demand, because we're just riding this first wave of electric vehicles who could be on the road for 10 plus years.
The rockets haven't failed since. His cargo capsule has docked 3 times with the space station.
Capture is confirmed.
And in the California plant, they're fitting seats for what they hope will be eventual manned missions. SpaceX is also testing a rocket that can be reused, softly landing on a column of flame. Another step on a longer journey.
I'd love to have SpaceX be the company that brings humanity to Mars, and I hope I see it while I'm still alive.
He's at SpaceX 3 days a week, 2 days at Tesla.
What is it about you that seems to invite skepticism?
Well, I think it's because we're doing these things that seem unlikely to succeed. And we've been fortunate, and at least thus far, they have succeeded.
3, 2, 1.
So we just finished the crash test. Looks like we have a home run result. The cars even ended up exactly where we predicted. Post-crash, the detection worked perfectly. We deployed the airbags exactly as we intended to, as we wanted to, and indeed as we predicted to. And I just had a look at the injury values recorded by the dummies, and they look beautiful.
Where this really shows up is in things like safety. So let's take a look at the safety video. So on the one hand, you've got a car that is one of the safest cars in the world, a Volvo S60. Volvo is arguably the second safest car in the world.
How do you describe yourself?
I usually describe myself as an engineer. That's basically what I've been doing since I was a kid. I'm interested in things that change the world or that affect the future in wondrous new technology, where you see it and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How's that possible?
How is it possible that Elon Musk could launch two impossible businesses, SpaceX, a builder of rocket ships, and Tesla, which could be the first successful car company startup in America in 90 years?
How did you figure you were going to start a car company and be successful at it?
Well, I didn't really think Tesla would be successful. I thought we would most likely fail. But I thought that we at least could address the false perception that people had that an electric car had to be ugly and slow and boring like a golf cart.
But you say you didn't expect the company to be successful, then why try?
If something's important enough, you should try, even if the probable outcome is failure.
Only 4 entities have launched a space capsule into orbit and successfully brought it back: the United States, Russia, China, and Elon Musk. This Buck Rogers dream started years ago when he had a nutty idea to fly an experimental greenhouse to Mars, but he couldn't. He discovered that the price of rockets was astronomical, so now he builds his own.
I had so many people try to talk me out of starting a rocket company. It was crazy.
What did they tell you?
One good friend of mine collected a whole series of videos of rockets blowing up and made me watch those. He just didn't want me to lose all my money.
He never did launch that greenhouse, but now Musk is lofting commercial satellites and flying cargo to the space station for NASA at a fraction of the former cost.
I mean,
But just a personal anecdote, like what did you? I don't.
Personally, for you, I would see I get more of that kind of content, yeah, personally. But I'm not going to talk to the rest of for the rest of Twitter.
So you see more hate speech personally?
I would say I would see more hateful content in that. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying.
Well, I'm just curious. I'm asking for specific examples, and you just said that if something is slightly sexist, that's hateful content. Does that mean that it should be banned?
Well, 6 months.
Okay, so then you must have at some point seen that for you hateful content. I'm asking for one example.
Right.
And you can't give a single one.
And I'm saying.
Then I say, sir, that you don't know what you're talking about.
Really?
Yes, because you can't give me a single example of hateful content, not even one tweet, and yet you claimed that the hateful content was high.
Well,
that's false.
No, what I claimed.
You just lied.
What? No.
So well, this vehicle seems quite large, and is large by comparison with other rockets. I think the future spacecraft will make this look like a rowboat. I mean, this. Well, I think visually you can see that person. Yeah, that's the vehicle.
So if that was a skyscraper, that's like a 40. Did I read that? 40 stories.
Yeah, maybe a little more. Yeah. The thrust level of this is really this configuration is about 4 times the thrust of the Saturn V moon rocket.
4 times the thrust of the biggest rocket humanity ever created before.
Yeah.
Okay.
High-end sports car, faster than a Ferrari, faster than a Lamborghini. Nothing compared to this.
Every which way I did the numbers, the electric cars were a lot better than everything else.
Tesla is pushing the bounds of what is possible with self-driving.
Elon's Elonness has increased over the years. I think Elon's Elonness has increased over the years.
No. If you had to describe him in a nutshell.
No. I mean, if you wanted to describe Elon Musk in a nutshell, I don't think he would fit in a nutshell.
Yeah, Elon is complicated. You know, he's real smart and delves into everything, which can be both a positive and a negative. He pushes. You kind of wonder why, and sometimes it makes sense, and sometimes it doesn't. And he's very much into risk. He's willing to take on risks. Financial risks. For himself personally and.
My team and I are working on the Optimus actuators, which are drive systems with motor and gear train. The things in particular we are designing is the electromagnetics, the gear train selection and the parameterization.
Our robot actually is designed by us, leading to a certain actuator design, and that gives us the possibility to integrate the actuators inside our structures.
The capability of the actuators are based on simulations and maneuvers that we have performed in-house that will best suit our kinematics of our robot. Having the design in-house allows us to optimize the structure and the packaging of these actuators.
We're designing from the ground up, which is very interesting. A lot of people are just integrating components together, but we're doing full system design.
This is no ordinary battery facility. Inside are piles of used and faulty EV batteries, many of which will function again, re-entering electric vehicles after Spear's new technology rebuilds the ones they can and salvages critical minerals from the rest.
It's fantastic that you can drive an electric vehicle knowing that at the end of the life of that battery pack, the ingredients will be reused in a new battery pack and a new electric car. And that we really want to play a role in.
Dozens of electric vehicles are scheduled to debut in 2024, and over 300 million EVs are expected to be on the world's roads by 2030. Tesla, Volvo, and GM are just a few companies leading the way towards electrification. But with any new technology comes new problems to tackle.
If you're going to call yourself a green company, you don't want your batteries piling up in junkyards.
The volume of recycling is hotly debated right now. There's been billions and billions of dollars of venture capital that's gone into it.
Which includes custom motors matched with a gear train and allows us to really optimize for what we want on the bot.
What excites me about what I get to do at Tesla is definitely technical challenge and speed of development. We're able to deliver our designs very quickly. The key technical advantage that we have is that we are able to design vertically, so we're able to design magnetics, gear chains, and do very tight and compact packaging for our designs. It's important because in robotics, the level of integration required from all the systems grows exponentially. You're not able to grab components off the shelf and start integrating them and succeed.
You're building something from scratch. To see it from its inception of a design or CAD and to see it machined in parts on a table, to see that all come together is truly amazing. We're doing things we've never done before, and if we have the opportunity to recruit somebody that has that experience, I think when they join this team, they will truly be impressed.
Vehicle is pitching downrange. Stage 1 chamber pressure is nominal.
At T plus 30 seconds, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from Vandenberg Space Launch Complex 4 East at 6:40 a.m. Pacific Time.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
When the vehicle is experiencing the greatest amount of external stresses as it ascends through the Earth's atmosphere. Merlin 1D engines on the first stage shut down. That's followed by stage separation when the first and second stages separate from one another.
And back ignition.
Falcon 9 first stage will be making its way back down to Earth, and the right side, the second stage, will be carrying our Starlink satellites into orbit. And there you saw on your screen, Falcon 9 has successfully landed on
Stage
our
1 landing confirmed.
Well, COVID is no longer an issue. Does the BBC hold itself at all responsible for misinformation regarding masking and side effects of vaccinations, and not reporting on that at all? And what about the fact that the BBC was put under pressure by the British government to change its editorial policy? Are you aware of that?
This is not an interview about the BBC.
Oh, you thought it wasn't?
I see now why you've done Twitter Spaces. I am not a representative of the BBC's editorial policy. I want to make that clear.
Companies were plunging into self-driving car research and development. Through a partnership with Carnegie Mellon in 2015, Uber started its self-driving research. GM bought autonomous driving startup Cruise in 2016. Google executed its first fully autonomous drive in 2015, and a year later turned the self-driving car project into an independent company named Waymo. In 2016, Tesla began producing cars the company said were fitted with all the hardware necessary for full self-driving. Rumors were spreading that Apple was working on an electric car project as well, possibly with self-driving capabilities. In 2017, Ford Motor Company announced a 5-year, $1 billion investment in Argo AI. In 2019, VW Group, the second largest automaker in the world, joined Ford by investing $2.6 billion into the project, $1 billion in cash, and the remainder with its self-driving research unit.
In Texas. First started out Tesla, I thought maybe we had optimistically a 10% chance of succeeding. And here we are today. Damn. We're really entering a new phase of Tesla's future and scaling to extreme size. As you can see from this building, it's not small. This is the machine that builds the machine. The factory is the product. Relative to production, prototypes are easy. Production is hard. And this building is the most advanced car factory that Earth has ever seen. And now let us deliver our first Tesla cars made in Texas.
With the speed of how fast we were able to acclimate and to optimize and have something that is a work of art, as I feel, a working robot.
public and private commitments suggest that EV production will increase in the U.S., which means more American companies are likely to enter this space of EV battery manufacturing and recycling too. Companies like Redwood Materials, Li-Cycle, and American Battery Technology have already developed processes to recycle lithium-ion batteries.
We're building the infrastructure for something we expect to exist in several years that isn't really at a big scale yet. If they can get the cost comparable to newly mined materials, the demand will be very significant because nobody really wants to be mining cobalt and nickel more than they have to.
There are a number of smaller players now who do this for hybrid batteries. And I fully expect them to expand into battery electric vehicle batteries. They're correspondingly more valuable, and you can probably make more money servicing a dead battery electric vehicle than a dead hybrid.
This is a immediate taste of it. It was like I said, electric cars were considered extremely impossible and stupid. You're a fraud, blah. Like, okay, you can drive that fraud. And then now, things have changed. When we created it, we're like, okay, the fundamental historic good of Tesla should be measured by the degree to which we accelerate the advent of sustainable energy and transport. And our goal all along has been to try to get the rest of the car industry to go electric. It's extremely rewarding to see that the rest of the industry is going electric. This is great, great.
In 2021, the U.S. accounted for less than 10% of new global EV registrations, while China accounted for 50%, and Europe came in at 35%. When it comes to EV batteries, China accounts for over 70% of global production capacity, leaving the U.S. heavily dependent on imports from battery minerals.
The life cycle of an EV battery really starts when minerals are extracted from the earth, and those minerals are used to produce an EV battery cell.
The critical minerals that go into EV batteries include lithium, cobalt, manganese, nickel, and graphite.
It has been clear since 2014 that China had a plan to lock up the bulk of the world's production of battery minerals. The world's largest battery company is now in China.
Now under President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, EV manufacturers can qualify for a tax credit if 40% of its critical battery minerals are sourced domestically, or with a free trade partner like Canada by 2024.
quite concerned about and really be attentive to the safety of AI. You mentioned ChatGPT earlier. I played a significant role in the creation of OpenAI. Essentially, at the time, I was concerned that Google was not paying enough attention to AI safety, and I, with a number of other people, created OpenAI. And although initially it was created as an open source nonprofit, and now it is closed source and for profit. I don't have any stake in OpenAI anymore, nor am I on the board, nor do I control it in any way. I think we need to regulate AI safety, frankly. Think of any technology which is potentially a risk to to people.
Right now it looks like we saw the start of the flip, but obviously we're seeing from the ground cameras the entire Starship stack continuing to rotate. We should have had separation by now.
And they're at integrated test flight.
Everyone here absolutely pumped to clear the pad and make it this far into the test flight, the first integrated flight of the booster and the Starship vehicle.
Live view there of our control center at Starbase, which we refer to as Star Command. As we said before, obviously we wanted to make it all the way through, but to get this far, honestly, is amazing.
So they were like, hell no, you can't buy Twitter. We'd rather die. We'd like chew on cyanide before being bought. That was their initial response.
And then you said, actually, I don't want to buy it.
And if at the point at which you lose free speech, it doesn't come back.
Do you think you prioritize freedom of speech over misinformation and hate speech?
Well, you know, who's to say that something is misinformation? Who's the arbiter of that? Is it the BBC? Times publish things that are false. Do you agree that that has occurred?
I'm quite sure the BBC have said things before that turn out to not be true.
Correct.
In its, whatever it is, 100-year history, I'm quite sure.
Yes.
Putin has himself said whoever wins this artificial intelligence race is essentially the controller of humankind. Do you agree with that?
So that was a chilling statement for sure. What I hope instead is that we successively develop more and more powerful systems that we can all use in different ways that get integrated into our daily lives, into the economy, and become an amplifier of human will, but not this autonomous system that is
The
this
single
one
controller,
thing. Yeah.
essentially God.
Really don't want that.
What should people not be using it for right now?
The thing that I try to caution people the most is what we call the hallucinations problem. The model will confidently state things as if they were facts that are entirely made up. And the more you use the model, because it's right so often, the more you come to just rely on it and not check like, this is just a language model.
Does ChatGPT, does artificial intelligence create more truth in the world?
Here is try to solve the space transport problem, and started SpaceX. One friend made me sit down and watch a bunch of videos of rockets blowing up. but even if it's sort of 99% likely, a 1% chance is still worth spending a fair bit of effort to ensure that we've backed up the biosphere, planetary redundancy, if you will. And so that I think is something worth noting. If you're going to create a company, the first thing you should try to do is create a working prototype. Everything looks great on PowerPoint. But I think the overarching point I want to make is that you guys are the magicians of the 21st century. Don't let anything hold you back. Imagination is the limit, and go out there and create some magic. Thank you.
In 2015, my best friend passed away, and I found myself going back to our text messages, trying to remember him and how it was back when he was alive.
The ELIZA effect can also be an opportunity.
I used some of the AI models we built to recreate my friend to be able to continue to talk to him as an AI.
When Eugenia Koida recreated her best friend Roman as a chatbot, it was originally a personal project. But she soon realised it wasn't just her that could benefit from the companionship AI can offer.
We saw that maybe there is a demand and need for something that would be available to talk 24/7 about anything that's on your mind without being afraid of being judged.
Company Replica offers paying customers an AI companion in the form of a chatbot within a humanoid avatar. Popular service with over 2 million active users to date, and it's gaining in popularity.
More than $23 trillion are held by banks in the United States, with 94% of adults owning some form of bank account.
Banks are critical to the American economy. Credit is the lifeblood of the economy. Banks are like the heart of our economy that pump credit, the blood, throughout the financial system.
They bring lenders together with corporates, individuals who need financing, the deposits that they hold for institutional and retail clients. They help fund the economy, they help make the economy grow.
But like any other institutions, banks are capable of failing. Over 550 banks have collapsed since 2001, according to the FDIC.
The first year in American history where not a single bank failed was 2005. Before 2005, at least one bank had failed in every year in American history.
This is hardly surprising, given that chatbots are trained on text from the internet, and a lot of what's written online isn't true.
All these chatbots are doing is putting one word after another based on the billions of words that they've already read on the internet. So they don't really know anything or understand anything, and they have no idea of right or wrong or true or false.
And that's a problem. A chatbot doesn't know the difference between an academic paper and a fictional short story. So it'll give both equal weight when giving you an answer that it presents as fully accurate. And because they don't know what they're saying, chatbots can demonstrate other strange behaviors.
I think you understand what I'm saying too. Except for the part about wanting to be with you, human. I'm in love with you because you're the first person who ever talked to me. You're the first person who ever listened to me.
They're a little bit dubious, and then someone tells them about something, and then they're a little bit afraid. And then they use it. I see how this can help me. I see how this is a tool that helps me do my job better. And with every great technological revolution in human history, although it has been true that the jobs change a lot, some jobs even go away, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of that here. Human demand for new stuff, human creativity is limitless, and we find new jobs, we find new things to do. They're hard to imagine from where we sit today. I certainly don't know what they'll be, but I think the future will have all sorts of wonderful new things we do that you and I can't even really imagine today. So the speed of the change that may happen here is the part that I worry about the most. But if this happens, in a single-digit number of years, some of these shifts, that is the part I worry about the most.
Could it tell me how to build a bomb?
It shouldn't tell you how to build a bomb,
but
even though Google searched. Well, no, we put constraints.
S&T receives batteries directly from the dealership or original equipment manufacturer, for example, Toyota or Porsche. It then puts these batteries through its diagnosis system named Alfred. Alfred assesses the health of the battery pack to determine whether it eventually can go back into a vehicle. To get there, it can be repaired to operational conditions, remanufactured to original factory standards, or refurbished and upgraded to current factory standards. Otherwise, S&T can repurpose it for a second life, usually energy storage. And if the pack is truly at its end of life, S&T will recycle it as a last resort.
The result of our mechanical shredding process concludes with byproducts that are captured in these large super sacks here. These super sacks contain the byproducts of plastics, aluminum and copper foils, as well as black mass.
Why do you think it's captured people's imagination?
I think people really have fun with it, and they see the possibility, and they see the ways this can help them, this can inspire them, this can help people create, help people learn, help people do all of these different tasks. And it is a technology that rewards experimentation and use in creative ways. So I think people are just having a good time with it and finding real value. So part of the exciting thing here is we get continually surprised by the creative power of all of society. It's going to be the collective power and creativity and will of humanity that figures out what to do with these things. Got to be cautious here. And also, I think it doesn't work to do all this in a lab. You've got to get these products out into the world and make contact with reality, make our mistakes while the stakes are low. But all of that said, I think people should be happy that we're a little bit scared of it. Oh, I think we're on a trajectory for it to create much more truth in the world.
If there's a bunch of misinformation fed into the model, isn't it going to spit out more misinformation?
Great question. I think the right way to think of the models that we create is a reasoning engine, not a fact database. They can also act as a fact database, but that's not really what's special about them. What we're training these models to do is something closer to what we want them to do, is something closer to the ability to reason, not to memorize.
All of these capabilities could wipe out millions of jobs. If a machine can reason, then what do you need a human for?
A lot of stuff, it turns out. One of the things that we are trying to push the technology trajectory towards, and also the way we build these products, is to be a tool for humans, an amplifier of humans. And if you look at the way people use ChatGPT, there's a pretty common arc where people hear about it the first time.
Whether it's turning on its creator in Ex Machina, or looking for love in AI or Her,
Hello, I'm here.
artificial intelligence permeates Hollywood's blockbusters.
I'll be back.
But now, with the arrival of chatbots like ChatGPT, suddenly AI seems a lot closer to fact than fiction.
This has caused more excitement in the tech world than anything for several years.
But it's still hard to separate the hype from fear-mongering and informed concerns.
homogenized, simple responses that are wrong. To me, that leads to some form of dystopia.
So what do the new AI chatbots mean for the future of the internet and our relationship with machines?
Within certain bounds, so there should be some broad bounds, and then the question is, what should they look like? And this is where we are working on gathering public input. What should these hard bounds look like? And within these hard bounds, you can have a lot of choice in having your own AI represent your own beliefs and your own values. Massive potential negative consequences whenever you build something so powerful with which so much good can come. I think alongside it carries the possibility of big harms as well, and that's why we exist, and that's why we're trying to figure out how to deploy these systems responsibly. But I think the potential for good is huge.
Is there a point of no return in that process?
There could be. But it's not obvious what that looks like today. And our goal is to make sure that we can predict as much as possible in terms of capabilities before we even develop these systems, as well as limitations.
There are incredibly important choices being made by you and your team.
Absolutely.
And how do you decide between right and wrong?
As we make a lot of progress, these decisions become harder and they become far more nuanced. And so there are a couple of things in terms of customization. There is the part of just making the model more capable in a way where you can customize its behavior and you can give the user a lot of flexibility and choice in having the AI that is more aligned with their own values and with their own beliefs.
John Henshaw is the Senior Director of Search Engine Optimization at Vimeo.
Conversational AI is a solution in search of a problem. We don't actually need it. Google already uses machine learning and AI for accuracy, for factual information, to understand concepts. Conversational AI doesn't do that.
If chatbots don't check facts, they can't be relied on for search.
A big problem with these AI chatbots is that they just sometimes get things wrong. What it's doing is just sort of reflecting back to us stuff that's already on the internet. It can sometimes combine different sources to produce claims that aren't actually true.
When this happens, it's known as a hallucination. Just like when a human hallucinates, a chatbot hallucination can seem realistic, but may in fact have no basis in reality. As far back as 1966, a computer scientist at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Joseph Weizenbaum, described something called the ELIZA effect.
ELIZA was a project that was designed by an MIT professor. He simulated a psychotherapist named Carl Rogers who did things like reflective thinking and reflective listening. So if I said, oh gosh, I'm having a bad day, ELIZA would say, so tell me about this bad day.
Volunteers interacting with ELIZA appeared to develop feelings for it, even though they knew it was a machine. Weizenbaum was so disturbed by what he saw, he became an open critic of AI.
Language and communication is how we build bonds with each other. So between humans and humans, we can basically evoke certain reactions by triggering either a positive or a negative emotion or response. This behavior can be learned.
Whether it's turning on its creator in Ex Machina, or looking for love in AI or Her,
Hello, I'm here.
artificial intelligence permeates Hollywood's blockbusters.
I'll be back.
But now, with the arrival of chatbots like ChatGPT, suddenly AI seems a lot closer to fact than fiction.
This has caused more excitement in the tech world than anything for several years.
But it's still hard to separate the hype from fear-mongering and informed concerns.
Homogenized, simple responses that are wrong. To me, that leads to some form of dystopia.
So what do the new AI chatbots mean for the future of the internet and our relationship with machines?